Hello, my name is Devin Juraj. I come from Croatia. This is my performance of the monologue from the play All My Sons by Arthur Miller. Enjoy. It takes time to toss that off. Because they weren't just men. For instance, one time it had been raining for several days, and this kid came to me and gave me his last pair of dry socks. He put them right in my pocket. And it's only a little thing, but that's the kind of guys I had. They didn't die. They killed themselves for each other. And I mean that exactly. A little more selfish and they'd have been here today. And I got an idea watching them go down. Everything was being destroyed, see. But it seemed to me that one new thing was made, a kind of responsibility, man for man, you understand me? To show that, to bring that onto the earth again, like some kind of a monument, and everyone would feel it standing there again behind him. It would make a difference to him. Then I came home. It was incredible. There was no meaning of it here. The whole thing to them was just some kind of a bus accident. And then I went to work with Dad in that rat race again. You know, I felt what you said. Ashamed, somehow. Because nobody was changed at all. And it seemed to make suckers out of a lot of guys. I felt wrong to be alive. To open the bank book, to drive the new car, to see the new refrigerator. I mean, you can take those things out of a war. But when you drive that car, you've got to understand that it came out of a love a man can have for another man. And you've got to be a little better because of that. I mean, otherwise, all you've got is really loot. And there's blood on it. I don't want to take any of it. I guess that includes you. The reason why I want to study drama and performance is because I want to gain a wide variety of acting skills and techniques. I want to be a very versatile actor. My wish is to become an actor that's going to be associated with excellence, but not in technique, more so in performance and the delivery of his role. I like method acting, so that is something that I would love to practice in the future. And I would really like to break the barrier between the association of the actor and the character. I want people to see a character on screen or on stage and to be 100% convinced that there is no such thing as the actor who's playing him. I want them to think that is that character. That character is an actual person. He lives, he breathes, he walks among us. I want to be that kind of actor, and my ultimate goal is just to always deliver a performance that's going to entertain everyone. The reason why I want to study at the University of Portsmouth is because when I was introduced with the course last month, I loved the idea of being taught everything about theater itself. So I had this misconception that I was only going to be taught acting and performance at the university, but when I was being introduced with the course, I found out that I do not only study acting, but also, for example, set design. I love the idea of being a useful member of a play, a useful member of the theater. I do not only wish to be an actor, but I also want to help with, I don't know, the choreography, the dance choreography, or maybe any ideas regarding the lighting. I want to be a jack of all trades. I want to be someone that can at least have a bit of knowledge in every field and be useful in everything. That is something that I aspire to be, and I believe that that is something that your university can teach me and help me out in the future. Now, I was told that when doing acting, that you try to mix in all the different ways and try to shoot us out of our comfort zones. And that is also something that I found personally very nice, because I don't want to stay in my little box for my entire life, but I want to experiment as much as I can with everything that I can be, with everything that can be given to me. So those are two big factors in the reason why I want to study at the University of Portsmouth. Theatrical production that I watched was one from here, Croatia, in our local theater. The play's name is The Bull and His Sons. Now, the story is about three children that are left alone. Their father left them. That is at least what we believe at the beginning of the play. The whole play is played out by three adult men acting as children, which is also a big confusion at the beginning of our viewing, because nobody is aware of that. They seem to shift from adults to children without actually giving us any background information about how they were raised. The whole thing is just a hierarchy of the oldest son to the youngest son. One thing I did not like is the confusion that is constant throughout the play. We were not sure about who the father was, what kind of a father he was. We were constantly wondering if he was an abusive father or he was a good father. But in the end, we actually find out that he did not leave them. He died, and they are constantly trying to reassure themselves that he is coming back, giving us backstory about their insecurities as humans and everything that falls into this sort of play. The set design was very interesting to me. This play was played out in a smaller part of our theater with a smaller viewing area, so we were very intimate. We were about 10 meters from the actors. The set is a little crooked to the side, and the whole set design is very fragile, giving us this intense feeling of vulnerability, as if the oldest son were to flip the table, it would fly to the other side of the room. And that actually shows the mental stability of the actors, well, of the characters throughout the entire play. I personally enjoyed it because it gave me insight about acting as something that is not normal to us, as in to act someone that's much younger than us. If I were to write a formal essay about this play that I watched, it would be titled The Bison and His Sons, How to Confuse and Not Confuse an Audience. The main topic of discussion would be how dialogue can be intricate and simple at the same time. How a story can be very lighthearted and simple and yet hold darkness and melancholy in its background. How if one were to watch and witness this play with a lighthearted intent, he would only see three brothers fighting over their own insecurities and waiting for their dad, whilst the individual that is trying to actually perceive what the dialogue is about would see a much darker theme about death, about loneliness, depression, melancholy, insecurities, violence, most of all. The whole play is centered about this, as I already mentioned, hierarchy of the three characters, the oldest and the youngest. The oldest being perceived as the strongest and being the alpha of the group, while the youngest is as smart, is the only one that can read. The middle one is the one that's constantly aggressive because he has no place to fit. It tries to show us what it's like to be a group of brothers without any support from their parents. It's a dark story that I perceived to be even darker than it already is because of my personal way of watching a play. And I would love to discuss about it with somebody that is willing to talk about it as well. I personally enjoyed it and found it to be very fun when I actually started to listen to the dialogue closely. I found a story of death and sadness and brotherhood. In the middle of the play, the audience is left confused. If one was not paying attention about every single little detail of the dialogue that was going on, one would not be able to understand what the plot is. So I think that the main goal of the Bison and His Sons is to actually wake the audience up and to make them listen for the little innuendos and references through the entire play.